My name's Nick Clements. The title of this piece is No Harm Must Come. The room is small, simple. There's the bed, a nightstand beside it to the right, the lamp resting on the corner of it, that window arched above. There's an oak dresser pushed up against the wall across the way, a closet to the left, the cream-colored walls covered in pictures of sportsmen wearing helmets and holding bats with a bevy of balls tumble about, faces blurred, mutated together, the faces of 1,000 different men, all the same. You think of your last visit, of that man's face you once wore, grizzled and worn. You worked for UPS, that you remember clearly, the painted picture of that time hardened in place. His name is lost, but not the job. You always remember the job inside your own, and this last one is burned there, because this job, his job, supported Sandra. So you keep your mind there and think about the United Postal Service. The United Postal Service is an interesting concept, something that's somewhat new to you. You understand that correspondence is important, always has been. You understand that, how intricate it is, how vast and expanding. It's something that remains with you still, even after all this time. You think about those intricacies. You think about delicate hands wrapping a gift, small hands, not unlike your own now, or Sandra's. You think about those hands, carefully placing the gift in a box, taping it tight, secure. This gift is precious. This gift must not be harmed. Fingernails click together as a postage stamp is pulled from a smooth pine coffee table. Red tongue licks the stamp. A thumb presses down on the stamp as it's placed in the corner of the box. The box is ready to go, cradled in the crook of an arm, black lint from a sweater catching the edge. Then it's placed on a cement patio where it waits its destiny. Time passes. The box is clutched with meaty hands, the skin coarse, black hairs on the knuckles. The box is raised in these rough hands, leaving the confines of the patio, tossed in the back of a truck with a dozen other boxes, all different shapes and sizes, but resembling the likeness of this one lone box, all the same somehow, like the faces of the men with their bats and their balls and their helmets and their frowns. The trunk rumbles along, more boxes tumbling in, tossed carelessly inside. The box keeps steadily ahead, the box on its way to its unknown destination. The box doesn't care where it's going. The box is indifferent. The box simply moves along. Well, I like to think that it's about a demon having a midlife crisis. Pretty much simple as that. Well, I'm a huge horror guy, I love horror books, horror stories, horror films. And, I just feel like there's always, in this genre, there's always these monsters and ghouls and ghosts and demons. They're always terrorizing people, but we never kind of go into the psyche of these monsters. And so I just sort of like the concept of sort of humanizing these creatures of the night and sort of see what they're going through, what's really going on. They're not necessarily always just pure evil. I like the concept of them having lives and thoughts and feelings, and I wanted to explore that. And so that's sort of what I did here. I was told not to, for sure. And this piece got rejected quite a lot because of that. It's funny because you mentioned it's really hard to do. A lot of people, they don't like it. But I felt for this piece, it felt right. I mean, you're in this demon that's in this body. So it felt like second person was just the right choice for the piece. And it is really difficult to do. So I wanted to sort of push myself and try and do something a little bit different. But I just think it really works for the piece itself, like he's in this body and it just sort of puts you there, When I write a short story, it all depends because I'm a crazy editor. Like I edited this piece for months after I did it. But the initial, when I write a short story, initially it takes about 3 days to a week where I just focus on this one story just to get the foundation of it. So I'm not saying like I'm a wonderkin on this rather than 3 days, but just the skeleton of it. Only really a few days to a week, but then the editing process is where it really takes its form. And I mean, it took me months until I got to a place where I was somewhat comfortable. Still don't think it's good. Like, I actually reread it today before we did this, and I noticed so many things I want to change. You know, there's never going to be any satisfaction with this kind of art form. You know, with most art probably. Consume all words, man. You know, like that forward. You wrote that forward for this? Yeah, I loved it, and the forward really resonated with me. Just talking about, you know, how you love just going through submissions, and it reminds you of being back at the library and looking at books and reading things and finding that that's what I do. I just love finding new books and new stories. I do some first reader work and some editing work for a couple places, and I love it because the more I can read, the more I can consume. You know, the better I feel I'm going to get, even if it's bad. Like, it's a bad story you're reading, you know, it's still going to help you. It's going to tell you what not to do, you know. So the tip I would give to any writer is just keep reading and consuming, and, you know, having words just suffused with your soul, you know. Just consume as much books and stories as you can, because the more you read, the more you write, the better you're going to be. I don't know. I guess, you know, look for broken people. I think that's the best way you can get a character to jump off the page. You know, I'm obsessed with the broken, with the disheartened, down on your luck kind of character. I think that's close to what true humanity is. You know, there's a lot of broken people in the world, and I think that's fascinating and beautiful. And especially nowadays, with so much stuff out there where characters are, you know, I mean, they're always flawed characters, but there's so many just badass characters, and they're so tough and strong and all this stuff. But I really like characters that are just completely flawed and, you know, just broken inside. And I think, for me, that's the most compelling kind of character you can write. But that's also because I feel like I'm broken inside, so I can sort of relate with that. But I think those characters are much more compelling. Oh man, you know what? Anything by Keith Rawson. He's a local guy from Portland, and he just put out a book of short stories called Folk Songs of Trauma Surgeons. And every single story in there is just ripe with beautiful characters. I don't know. Let me just flip through here. Hospitality by Keith Rawson. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And it's in this book called Folk Songs for Trauma Surgeons. And why? It's because his characters, like I said, they're flawed and they're broken, and I resonate with that. You know, and every story in that book actually it's about, you know, it's pretty much about broken, flawed characters, which I just think is awesome, for lack of a better word. To Samjoko, Todd Sullivan. He's got all kinds of good stuff coming out, and you know, this is, I'll be honest, this is the first time I've actually been published, so I don't really have anything out there. I have a lot of stuff submitted, but yeah, nothing really out there yet. Just I'm going to push this little short story and in Samjoko, we'll try and push it to the world, right?